Hey guys, Brian from Dwarf Boas here. The 2024 boa breeding season is going great, and today I want to give you guys an update on my breeding progress. I'm going to go over at a high level the different pairings that I have, and then speculate on the likelihood that I'm going to have these animals available based on what I've seen so far. And so if you've been following the channel, you know that I paired up my animals back in November, and they were together for about 2 months or so until late December. Late December, I separated the pairs, I fed them, and then they went back together. So they've been back together about a few days now. They'll stay together for probably 3 to 4 weeks, and then I'll separate them again for a week, feed them, etc., and repeat that process until the females are gravid or they've given birth, or until it's probably around May, and it's probably not going to happen. So this year I have a really nice lineup of different types of boas, mostly locality boas, lots of different red tails and dwarf boas, etc., a few morph pairings. So far things seem to be going really well. I've seen a lot of activity, a lot of males courting females. I've actually seen a lot of males that have been mating with females, and in some cases I've gone to try to clean the cage and I've tried to separate them, and the male semipene has been inside the female, which makes it a little difficult to separate them. But so far things look quite well in terms of the likelihood of a really good season of baby boa births a few months down the road. And so I don't know for sure what's gonna hit and what's not. I can never tell for sure. I know that typically I get at least 50% of my pairs lead to successful babies. I almost never get above, around 70%. So I know that those are kind of the odds that I'm looking at. Hopefully this year I'll be on the higher side. I will say though, I've bred red tails, true red tails, every year since 2014 when I got back into the boa breeding game. And I'm really confident that if I have any type of animals, it'll be the Suriname red tail like this one. This is actually a currently available 2022 baby that I still have available, looking for a new home. Real nice animal. But I have quite a few different pairings of Suriname red tails this year, both from my two main bloodlines, my Prometheus and my Picasso bloodline, as well as several other non-related bloodlines. So really good, genetically diverse group of Surinames breeding this year. Lots of really beautiful animals, lots of second and third generation animals that are going to be produced. So it'll be a good year, and I really take pride in my Surinames. I think they've been getting better and better every year, and hopefully this year should be no different. So I would say there's a pretty good, if not 100%, at least 99% chance I'm going to have some baby Surinames. And in terms of red tails, I also have some Venezuelans and some Peruvians together. And hopefully I'll have these. I find that these two types of red tails are a little bit harder for me to breed consistently than the Surinames, but hopefully we'll see. Last year I did have Peruvians born. I did not have any Venezuelans born, but hopefully this year we'll have at least one of each, or at least just one of those to be total. But it would be nice to get all three: Surinames, Venezuelans, and Peruvians. But we'll just have to see. Hopefully the red tail breeding gods will be nice to us this year. In addition to the true red tails, another bread and butter snake item at Dwarf Boas are my dwarf boas. And every year I have dwarf boas paired. This year is no exception. This year I have Tarahumara, Crawlkey, and Cockerkey dwarf boas that are breeding as we speak. And just wanted to show you, this is a Tarahumara from 2022. This female I was holding her back. Reluctantly I decided to sell her just because I have a lot of babies and I needed some room to make room for the incoming 2024 models. So she's sold. She's going to go out to her new owner as soon as the weather cooperates. But this year I'm hoping for the Tarahumaras, as well as the two key boas from Belize, the cockers and the crawls. And last year I had a litter of the Crawlkeys. I didn't have any Cockerkeys paired. I had a small litter of Tarahumara late in the year in September of just 2 babies, which was kind of unexpected. but it was good to have even a small litter of these dwarf beauties. But this year I have quite a few pairings of the crawl and the cockers. I have one pair of the crawl and the Tarahumara. I have one pair of cocker keys. I just have the one pair that bred for me the first time back in 2022. So hopefully my pair will breed again in 2024, since the cocker keys seem to be a little bit harder to find than some of the other types of the dwarf boas. And these dwarf boas, as if you've been watching the channel, you know I'm a big fan of them. They're a great animal to keep if you want a boa constrictor that looks and acts like a boa constrictor, but is in a much more manageable pint-sized package. It's not going to eat as much food, and it's not going to need as large of an enclosure. And you know, for the purists out there, I refer to them as boa constrictors more in the vernacular than in the scientific term. Technically, they're either boa sigma, as the case of this Tarahumara, or boa imperator, like the crawl key and the cocker key. But to me, you know, as far as the common name boa constrictor, all of my boas I consider to be in the boa constrictor group, as opposed to a non-boa constrictor like an anaconda or a green tree boa, something like that, which is still a boa. Next, a few other pairings that are also in the species boa imperator, like this guy, who just you can see how he feels about being taken out. I have a couple types of boas. I would not call them dwarfs. They're not huge boas. They're not dwarfs. They're in the species boa imperator. One of the pairings is the Honduran firebellies, like this guy. And as you can see, the behavior is a little iffy on these guys, which I've become accustomed to. He didn't get me too bad, didn't even break the skin. But you can see the beautiful coloration. These are really amazing looking animals. I'm just going to hold them at arm's length there. And this guy is a few years old. Yeah, he's just not having it today. A few years old, hoping for another litter of these beauties. We'll just have to see. Look at those beautiful eyes on this guy. You know, for someone that's so aggressive, he's not very good at drawing blood, but I'm going to put him back now before I lose any blood. That Honduran firebelly just didn't want to be on camera today. It's been a few years since I've had Honduran firebellies. My fingers are crossed. This year I have a new breeding pair that have been growing up, and so far things look like there's been some activity. The Honduran firebellies are really, really hard to find these days. In fact, I don't know of anyone other than myself at this point that's breeding them. So fingers crossed we'll have some animals available. A lot of you guys have been asking me about these animals and if I'm going to have any Honduran firebellies. The other imperator is, of course, the Hog Island boa. And I'm hoping to have Hog Island babies this year. Hog Islands, when I first started breeding, you know, back 6-7 years ago, I had a lot more success with them. And it seemed like my litters just got smaller and, you know, less regular. Last year, I actually had a litter of one live baby. Actually, there were two live babies. One was kind of deformed and unfortunately ended up passing away. I had one good live baby, a couple stillborns, and some slugs. So, but I'm hoping this year I have some new breeding stock that have been growing up. So hopefully we'll have some Hog Island boas. And these guys are a mainstay in any locality collection. They used to seem like they used to be really common and a lot of people were working with them and they're widely available. Unfortunately, it seems like the supply has just completely dried up in the last few years and they're a lot harder to get than they used to be. So I'm hoping to be able to offer some beautiful baby Hog Island boas, you know, for people that want them for their locality group. The next group of boas I have breeding at Brian Boas this year are what I refer to as alsso boas, A-L-S-O. So it's an acronym that stands for the subspecies name of these types of boas. So A is for Amorali, the Bolivian short-tailed boa. L is for Longicauda, the Toombs boa or the long-tailed boa. S for Saboge, the Pearl Island boa, and O, of course, for Occidentalis, the Argentine boa, like this one. And it's also, I call them also because everyone thinks about boa constrictor, and then the different types of boa imperator, but these are also boas as well. So anyway, I have the animals from this group going. The I don't have any Amarali paired this year, but the other three I do have. So I have some Pearl Island boas paired up, and in the past I've had really good success with Pearl Islands, so hopefully we'll have some more babies. In fact, I still have some babies from 2023 available if you're looking for a real nice Pearl Island. The L for Longicauda, have pairing of Longicauda this year, so fingers crossed. I actually didn't get any Longicauda in 2023, although I had litters in 2021 and 2022. So hopefully 2024 we'll have some more Longicauda. And then of course Occidentalis, the Argentine boa. And I finally had a litter of Argentines in 2023 after going for 8 years without them for a number of reasons. I didn't have males for a while, and it took me a while to find a male and raise them up, and then I had a year or two where I wasn't successful. But finally in 2023 we had this beautiful litter of Argentine boas. This is one of them, and this one is actually still for sale. And I really take pride in these because these are the grandchildren of my original Argentine pair that I got back in the 90s from Nerd of all places. And those animals were the first boa that I ever bred back in 2005. And unfortunately they passed away a few years ago. And but I'm just glad that I'm keeping their lineage going with their grandchildren. From the offspring from babies that were born from them back in 2015, which was actually my last Occidentalis litter before the 2023 litter. So I have another pairing going this year. It's actually a proven male with a first-time female, so hopefully we'll be successful. I don't want to jinx myself, and normally I don't tell people the specifics of my boa breeding for that very reason. But hopefully we'll continue the Argentine boa streak and have another litter in 2024. And last but not least, the final group of boas I have going are morph boas. And I know that this is primarily a locality channel, and most of you guys are more into the locality. But I do like some of the morphs. I have some really interesting projects going on and have a few pairs going on, including some Morans and VPIs and some IMGs, which I'm really excited about. But just thought I'd show you, this is a female from 2022 from one of my first morph litters. This is a jungle Moran. The beautiful colors and differences in pattern resulting from the jungle as well as the Moran gene. Just a really cool animal. This female was sold and someone was paying it off, and it was going on for quite a while. And then ultimately they decided they wanted a different boa. And so I actually didn't put her back up. This was about 6 months ago or so. They decided they no longer wanted her. She is available. I've been meaning to, when I get a chance, take some updated pictures and put her up online in my Flickr page. Of course, it's kind of on hold now because it's too cold to ship most of the country anyway. So I might not get those updated pictures until, March or April. But just thought I'd take her out, as a final snake, just to show you one of the really cool morph boas that I've produced here. And I actually expect to potentially have some jungle Morans this year like this one. But we'll just have to see, how the boa gods smile on me and what types of litters I end up getting. Anyway, hopefully this gives you a good idea where I'm at with my boa breeding this year, and kind of a foreshadow of some of the babies that I can hope to expect in the next few months ahead. I would expect, based on the past, my first litters are typically in late spring. Actually, typically early spring. Now that I've kind of moved back my breeding till November, it used to be not until December. So I can probably expect to see some of the boa imperator types or some of the island boas as early as March or April. Most of the animals are born around May, June. It's when I start to see red tails going typically into August. Although actually last year I didn't have any litters in August. Had a lot in July, none in August, and then I had one out in late September, my Tarahumara, so that was kind of unexpected. But hopefully we'll have a very exciting breeding baby boa birthing season ahead. And whenever possible, I like to record the births and share with you the animals as they enter the earth and are born, just so you can see, how I've been doing. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, shoot me a line. Always open to hear what you think, and enjoy your boas.